With a jazz fan.
One of country music's biggest stars is coming to Provo to celebrate our nation's birthday. Welcome to Newsline. It's Tuesday, March 12th, 2019. I'm Maren Klein.
And I'm Amy Hamilton. Several earthquakes have rocked Utah in the last month or so. The tectonic activity has many people wondering when the big one will hit.
Newsline reporter Natalia Pennington is live along the Wasatch Front. Natalia, when will it happen?
When in doubt, it's always good to consult an expert. Geologists are saying that these little earthquakes that we've been having in Utah are trying to send us a message, and we should not ignore it. The last time Salt Lake City had an earthquake was more than 1,300 years ago, but that does not mean it was the last one. In the past few weeks, magnitude 3 earthquakes have been hitting areas close to Utah Valley. Non-experts have mixed feelings and different opinions about these smaller earthquakes we've been experiencing. Ron Harris, BYU professor of geological sciences, has a strong opinion about the matter.
These little earthquakes are just telling us that we need to beware, because one of those little earthquakes eventually is going to cause the fault zone to become unstable.
Harris says that these smaller earthquakes Utah has been experiencing does not mean that it will decrease the chances of a bigger one. Actually, they are warning us of a much bigger earthquake that will take place along the Wasatch Fault.
It's accumulating at about 2 millimeters a year, so that's about, that's like 1/10 of an inch per year. But it's been over 1,000 years since it last slipped.
Experts say that a 3 magnitude earthquake feels much different than a 7 magnitude. This one could cause weak structures to collapse. What everyone wants to know is when this will take place. And to this, not even the experts have an answer.
When is the wrong question. It's the question that everybody asks because they want to procrastinate preparation.
Just like Professor Harris says, when is not the right question. He says we should walk around our house and make sure we remove or adjust heavy objects that might fall in the events of an earthquake. Reporting live in Provo, I'm Natalia Pennington.
Thanks, Natalia.
The Salt Lake Attorney's Office, with the support of Mayor Biskupski, has filed a lawsuit against the Utah Inland Port Authority, challenging the constitutionality of its creation. The lawsuit begins a legal fight over control of land currently owned by the city, but slated to be used for the developed inland port. According to Mayor Biskupski, the deal would usurp the city's taxing and land use over 1/3 of its property. Once built, the port would be a hub for truck and train activity carrying raw materials and products in and out of the valley. On Friday, Representative Ben McAdams said he will veto zoning approval for the Olympia Hills project. The housing project in Harriman has led to widespread backlash from those who live near the proposed development. People are worried about overcrowding since the project has zoned about 37 people per acre. Neighboring developments have less than 10 people zoned per acre. Since the veto, the developers of the Olympia Hills community have revised zoning plans and will hold a public open house in Harriman on Wednesday.
A Utah man is charged with homicide after beating a man to death for being too loud. 31-year-old Ross Latham reportedly punched a man outside his motel room for talking on his phone too loudly. The punch knocked the man unconscious and he never woke up. He was charged in the 2nd District Court, and prosecutors are asking what he be held without bail, stating that he is, quote, a danger to the community, having caused the death of another over something as trivial as someone else talking on the phone. According to the U.S. Postal Service, a Utah deliveryman stole nearly 400 packages. Hector Armando Cortez, who worked for the On-Track Shipping Company, was arrested Thursday for investigation of felony mail theft. Investigators searched Cortez's home and found several stolen laptops, dozens of articles of clothing, and at least 112 cell phones still in their original packaging. This ends a 3-month investigation by the U.S. Postal Inspector and West Valley Police.
Orem Police Department just implemented a new wellness program, and it's getting a lot of attention. Reporter Kelsey Carlson talked to the department about what they're doing that's different from other police departments.
Orem Police Department is doing something that is changing the way police officers think about saving the day. They are rolling out a new wellness program to help save their own police officers. Plans started more than a year ago when Police Chief Gary Giles decided to start a committee to combat the growing number who are dealing with mental illness, divorce, and suicide because of their job.
Hey, we're all human, just like everybody else.
The program consists of 4 areas: financial, officer safety, physical, and mental wellness. It requires a mandatory yearly checkup with a counselor, and it's really helping officers.
Broke down and actually opened up and shared a lot of things that were bothering them, and just talked about some closure and some moving forward that they hadn't had in their lives.
The new program is gaining a lot of attention from departments in the state and received a nomination from the Bureau of Justice for a national award for the program. After the murder of Officer Schinner, the program was implemented full force. Not only did police officers have a counselor to meet with, but they were assigned a peer mentor, an employee that has been specifically trained to be there after an incident.
And then, so basically that officer would just be there for support, or that dispatcher would be there for support.
The department hopes that the new program will destigmatize getting help with mental health needs and help officers have a more balanced life.
The Utah legislature is coming to a close this week.
Monday was the final day for committee meetings with about 100 bills on agendas before 4 p.m. The evening was set aside for floor sessions in both chambers to debate and vote on dozens of bills. Legislators will continue to do the same on today, tomorrow, and Thursday before the session wraps up for the year.
Lauren's Law, a gun safety bill, has failed to make it out of a House committee. The bill was driven to the Senate as a result of the murder of University of Utah student Lauren McCluskey. McCluskey was fatally shot last year by her ex-boyfriend on the university's campus by a borrowed gun. Lauren's Law would have made a borrowed weapon used in a crime a felony for the owner.
A daylight saving bill passed in the House and now awaits introduction to the Senate. The bill is a joint resolution that urges the United States Congress to pass the Daylight Act, which would allow states to determine how they observe daylight saving time, if they observe it at all. The Utah bill claims there are various problems associated with daylight saving time, including an increase in heart attacks by 4% the Monday following the change.
A Utah teacher spoke out for the first time yesterday after forcing her 9-year-old student to wipe off the Ash Wednesday cross on his forehead. 4th grade teacher Moana Patterson claims it was a misunderstanding. She said yesterday that she thought the cross was dirt, and she gave William a wet wipe to clean it off, not knowing it was a religious symbol. She said that she hopes everyone can move forward and build understanding together. Patterson is still on paid administrative leave. A new hotel will be built alongside the Salt Palace Convention Center. The building will be up to 28 stories, rising up to 335 feet, having 700 rooms and 62,000 square feet. Salt Lake City hopes it will encourage tourism surrounding the various conventions held at the Salt Palace. Construction is supposed to start this year, and they hope that it will be finished in 2022. Blueprints released by John Portman and Associates show the hotel with digital banners as well.
Country superstar Keith Urban will be headlining Stadium of Fire this year. This is the 39th annual show at LaVelle Edwards Stadium at Brigham Young University. Stadium of Fire is one of America's biggest 4th of July fireworks shows. The event includes fire dancers, skydivers, and military flyover, and of course, fireworks. Tickets go on sale Tuesday, March 19th at 10 a.m.
BYU gears up for the semi-annual Battle of the Bands. What makes music lovers excited for this semester's lineup?
Happy birthday to the World Wide Web. The internet turns 30 today. We'll show you how the world is celebrating.
10-4. I'll be out with that vehicle right now.
It's one way to get out of a ticket, the surprise an officer found when pulling over a car in Nebraska.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana.
How does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Today, Parliament is scheduled to vote on Prime Minister May's withdrawal agreement. British Prime Minister Theresa May returns to Great Britain from the European Commission with what she says is a major win, a better Brexit. May is hoping that 11th hour assurances from the European Union on the status of the Irish border will sway lawmakers in her favour.
The House of Commons will debate the improved deal that these legal changes have created.
Her previous version of the exit plan lost by 230 votes in January. If Parliament doesn't vote for this deal, lawmakers will have to vote on whether to leave without a deal in place or to send Prime Minister May back to Brussels to ask for a deadline extension. As for the U.S., experts say that unraveling of the European Union could bring more instability to the region.
The Federal Aviation Administration, in a major statement, says it will order Boeing to modify its 737 MAX jets. The FAA says this is due to the Lion Air crash, in which 189 people died. The Lion crash happened in September 2018, but the announcement is only coming now, the day after another 737 MAX 8 crash, killing 187 people on board.
A vehicle that will never need a wash. Here's a car that's made completely out of snow. A Nebraska state trooper found a replica Mustang. A man and his two kids created the car after shoveling neighborhood driveways. They sculpted it to model the 1967 Ford Mustang GTA that they store in their garage. It took them about 5 hours to complete.
It's a special day in tech history. Today marks the 30th birthday of the World Wide Web. Tim Berners-Lee, then a 33-year-old software engineer, handed in a proposal that ignited the information age. Berners-Lee's idea called for managing and monitoring research. It basically was the first draft of what would become the World Wide Web. Google honored the birthday with an animated doodle that had pixelated letters that were frequently seen on web pages years ago.
There's a new science exhibit on campus. We'll tell you what it explores and how it helps build faith.
How NBA players and social media are reacting to a heated argument at a Jazz game.
And we'll tell you the higher temperatures a big part of Utah will experience this week.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day.
I have no time for this.
So.
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Planning the right amount of food is hard. The Guestimator makes it easy. Just tell it who's coming and what's for dinner. Then it tells you how much to make. And yes, it even plans for leftovers. Try it at savethefood.com.
Brigham Young University's Bean Life Science Museum is adding a new exhibit for people to explore. NewsLine reporter Melissa La Rocha is at the museum. Melissa, what is this exhibit about?
The Mont L. Bean Science Museum, located north of BYU campus, has a new exhibit opening this week. It's called Understanding the Principles of Evolution. Let's take a look at what it's all about. As families come to explore the Bean Life Science Museum's various exhibits, a new installation is just about ready to open to the public.
So about 2 years ago here at the Bean Museum, the team came up with an exhibit about faith and science, and originally they actually tried to take and put evolution as part of that exhibit.
As a project that museum curators have been working on for a long time, they wanted to make sure it aligned with their understanding of evolution
and their faith as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
In 2016, the church released a statement about evolution in the new era, which kind of talked about how there hasn't been any revelation regarding evolution, and it's important for us to understand the science behind it and make the decision for ourselves.
The exhibit explores how evolution changes life on Earth, as well as theories and observations of it.
We've tried to focus on really what does science define as evolution, because there's a lot of misunderstanding out there.
Features of the exhibit include dogs, birds, and humans.
We have specimens from every continent except for Australia on display, so that's kind of neat.
The exhibit will be open this week. To find more information on the Bean Life Science Museum and its exhibits, look them up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Reporting for Newsline, I'm Melissa LaRocha.
Thanks, Melissa.
The Wall's Battle of the Bands is like duels straight out of Guitar Hero. Newsline reporter Larissa Vecchi is following the week-long competition. Larissa, how are the bands doing?
The first of 5 rounds of the semi-annual Battle of the Bands took place yesterday, and spectators couldn't have been more excited.
From the most extroverted to the most introverted, music has always served as a universal language. The Wall, a restaurant located on BYU campus, hosts a semi-annual Battle of the Bands.
There's 3 bands that will compete against each other each night, and the winner of each night advances to the final round on Friday, where they'll be competing for free studio recording time from Cold House Studios.
The battle is now more than 5 years old, and the sponsors offer local bands a great start into what may possibly change the lives of the musicians.
So there's a lot on the line for bands that are like up and coming and they want to get their music recorded. They're here to win so that they can release albums and push their band forward.
The bands bring their own personality into their music and performance, giving the audience a truly eclectic show.
Every successful performer has to have a persona. This is the real me right now. This is when I, can really express myself on stage like this. So, what you're seeing now, this is young Crust.
The lead singer of Crust went on to explain his band members wore matching Boy Scout uniforms because, quote, Boy Scouts are underrated. When asked about nerves, lead singer of She said she was no stranger to the concept.
I played with this dude whose name was Jaren, and when I got on stage, I introduced myself as Jaren. I was like, hi everybody, I'm Jaren.
Last night proved to be a great start for this season. The battle continues every night this week. The winner will be announced on Friday. Reporting for Newsline, I'm Larissa Vecchi.
At least 7 people died after a storm hit the city of Sao Paulo in Brazil overnight. At least 5 rivers flooded, and one line of the metropolitan train system suspended its service due to high water. In some areas, people had to be rescued from their homes and vehicles. More rain is expected, but will not be as heavy. As for Utah, we are seeing some rain and snow tomorrow for the northern part of Utah. However, it's going to clear up over the weekend, and we'll see some sun throughout the week. If we're going to highs of the day, we see that Salt Lake is at 52, 54 in Provo, 63 down in St. George, so pretty warm, and a little bit colder up in Vernal and in Logan. For our lows of the days, we are seeing lows at around 32 and 29 in Provo, 30 in Vernal, 25 down in Richfield, and 41 down in St. George. For our 5-day forecast for southern Utah, we are seeing clouds, but sunshine coming through, with a high being as high as 68 on Sunday. For the northern part of Utah, we are seeing snow tomorrow with rain. We don't know so much yet, but with degrees with 35, and then it's going to clear up, being cloudy and sunny throughout the week. So we are getting a warmer week this week.
The BYU women's basketball team advanced to the West Coast Conference Tournament Final after a comeback win against Pepperdine yesterday.
5 minutes to go. Johnson leading the break for BYU. Fakes to Brenna Chase all the way in. Offensive rebound. Shaylee Gonzalez!
Shaylee Gonzalez finished with 17 points and 8 rebounds, and Paisley Johnson scored 20 points as the Cougars overcame a 13-point second-half deficit to earn the win. BYU will meet Gonzaga in the championship game at 2 p.m. today. BYU junior guard Jashir Hardnett announced on social media yesterday that he will be transferring from BYU. Hardnett only appeared in 20 games for the Cougars this year and sat out a couple of practices while he decided what he wanted to do with his future. Hardnett didn't play in the Cougars' conference tournament loss to San Diego last weekend. BYU baseball third baseman Jackson Clough was named West Coast Conference Player of the Week yesterday afternoon. Clough batted .600 last week while helping the Cougars to 3 wins over Milwaukee and 1 win over Utah Valley. BYU's baseball team has won 9 of their last 10 games and remains at home to host Niagara this afternoon and Gonzaga this weekend. The Jazz fell behind early and couldn't complete the comeback in last night's 98-89 loss to the Thunder.
By OKC tonight. Killer step back. Bang! Oh, what a play!
Donovan Mitchell finished with 25 points to lead all scorers, but the Jazz were never able to get things going on the offensive end in the loss. The loss dropped the Jazz down to the 8th spot in the Western Conference standings at 37-29 on the season. The Thunder's win wasn't the only headline from last night's game, however, as Russell Westbrook was caught threatening a Jazz fan during the game. Westbrook claimed he was defending himself and his family, while the fan claimed he didn't say anything inappropriate. Video shows the exchange, and here's both sides of the story from Westbrook and the fan.
Wife in the stands told me to get down on my knees like he used to, and for me that's just completely disrespectful.
I just told him, I'm like, just sit down and ice your knees, bro. And he turned to me and he's like, that's heat, and I'm like, well, you're gonna need it. And then it turned into not safe for work.
This incident has social media buzzing. Savannah breaks down the controversy online. Savannah?
During last year's playoffs, Westbrook swatted at a Jazz fan who was recording him. Last night, Westbrook claims that another Jazz fan was racist and disrespectful. The fan, Shane Kiesel, claims he didn't say anything racist. Kiesel's dislike for Westbrook has a history. He posted this against Westbrook last year. He said, "Russell Westbrook needs to go back where he came from," with the hashtag Make America Great Again. Westbrook fans and teammates are enraged with the alleged social slurs and think Westbrook was justified in his reaction. This Twitter poll asked, did Russell Westbrook cross the line threatening a fan and the fan's wife? 10% say Westbrook went too far, 18% say both parties were at fault, and an overwhelming 72% say that Westbrook did not cross the line. Westbrook's teammate Patrick Patterson witnessed the altercation and spoke out about how fans can be disrespectful and not expect backlash from the players. He goes on to say, "As men, what do you expect us to do? Shut up and dribble? No one is held accountable for their actions except for us. Fans are protected in every way possible, but not us." On the other hand, this user thought Westbrook went a little too far. He said, "The problem here is that Westbrook threatened to beat a woman." The Jazz will not play the Thunder again this season unless we see them in the playoffs. Back to you, Paul.
Thanks, Savannah. Russell Westbrook wasn't the only star to make headlines for the wrong reason last night.
Marquise, he grabbed him by the throat.
Toronto's Serge Ibaka and Cleveland's Marquise Chris were both ejected after this play in Cleveland last night. Ibaka will likely be suspended for multiple games and face a heavy fine by the NBA. We'll be right back.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
There's good luck, then there's winning a lottery 30 times, which is hard to believe and even harder to come by. The lucky lady was Deborah Brown. She says she just had a feeling about a particular series of numbers. Those numbers were 1, 0, 3, and 1. First, she bought 20 Pick 4 tickets using the numbers. Then later, she used the same numbers when buying 10 additional tickets. Whatever Brown's feeling was, it was dead on accurate. Her lucky numbers earned her $5,000 for each ticket for a total of $150,000.
Thanks for joining us today for Newsline.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu/newsline.
Have a great day.